It was my brother Sam's wedding day, supposed to be the happiest day of his life. Instead, I helped him abandon his bride at the altar, not because he got cold feet, but because she invited the one person we'd all spent our lives trying to escape, our own mother. Our family history? It's a twisted knot of pain and manipulation, all thanks to her. My two older brothers, Joe and Sam, and we grew up without a normal mom. Our parents divorced when I was just a toddler because of her insane jealousy. It got so bad that she started making disturbing comments about me wanting to be like my dad's new wife, and that was the final straw for him. She rebounded fast, but when Dad remarried, she absolutely lost it. The name-calling, the accusations of cheating, it was endless. I was always glued to my brothers and Dad because Mom was just mean to me. The cruelest blow came years later. Our amazing stepmom died in a horrific car accident. My dad called Mom in the middle of the night, heartbroken, to tell her he'd pick us up early for the funeral. Her response? She decided to take us on a fun trip to celebrate something, completely ignoring the tragedy. When we finally realized what had happened and started sobbing, she sneered, "Only worthless people cry for whores." That moment, everything went nuclear. Dad fought for, and won, full custody. He always kept the door open, paid for visits when she moved, but things never truly improved. The second we turned 18, we cut contact. The last time we saw her face to face was at my high school graduation, where she made a grand show of telling anyone who'd listen what ungrateful kids we were. Her awful husband joined in, calling us names. We've been no contact ever since. Fast forward, my brother Sam started dating Daniela 3 years ago. She knew all the stories, all the reasons we had zero contact with our mother. But Daniela, bless her heart, genuinely believed we were just dramatic. She kept pushing for reconciliation, insisting we needed to value family. This caused so many fights, but eventually, she seemed to drop her crusade during wedding planning. There were no red flags, no weird vibes. We all thought, okay, maybe she finally gets it. Then came the wedding day. We got to the church, and there they were. Our mother, her awful husband, and her 2 stepkids, sitting proudly in the very front row. My blood ran cold. Panic seized me. I immediately called my brothers. Sam, bless his naive heart, thought maybe she just somehow found out and was trying to crash it. He called Daniela to warn her about the impending drama. Her reply? "Oh, it's fine. I invited them." My brother Sam hung up, his face a mask of utter devastation and betrayal. He just looked at me and said, "Get me out of here." Joe, our oldest brother, stayed behind to deal with the inevitable explosion at the church. Sam and I bolted. We went straight home, locked the doors, and practically barricaded ourselves inside. Daniela, her family, her friends, they all showed up, pounding on the door, trying to make sense of it. Mom's husband even called, spitting venom, saying he always knew we were worthless. The initial dust has settled, and thankfully, most of Sam's friends are on his side, as is the rest of our family. Daniela's parents, though, immediately threatened to sue Sam for all the money they'd spent. But Sam, my heartbroken brother, just said he'd rather pay them back every single cent than marry someone who would betray him so completely. Our core family, Dad included, supported him 100%. The backlash has been enormous, but we stand firm. By the way, if you're still with me through this wild ride, make sure to hit that subscribe button, more unbelievable stories are definitely coming your way. Daniela never even apologized. In fact, she had the audacity to text Joe, saying she thought inviting our mother was a good wedding present because she valued family. The irony was stomach-churning. My dad had bought them a house as a wedding present, but only Sam's name was on the deed. She had keys, of course, but the locks got changed that very day. Joe and some cousins marched over and cleared out all of Sam's belongings from her flat. Joe told me what happened at the church aftermath. It was exactly as I'd pictured. He stood up in front of everyone and calmly announced that Sam wasn't coming and that all gifts sent to our side of the family would be returned ASAP. Daniela, still outside, started screaming and crying when her family told her, calling Sam nonstop. Mom tried to corner Joe, but he wouldn't even look at her. When she couldn't get a reaction, she launched into a loud, performative sob fest, lamenting how horrible we were. It's her usual playbook. Joe and his wife, Anna, just ignored it. When they left the church, Daniela was waiting, demanding to see Sam. Joe shut her down. She then demanded to know what to do about the reception, and Joe, ever the pragmatist, said if she didn't want the venue, he'd arrange for all the food to be donated to the staff. Chaos erupted, everyone screaming except Joe, who refused to give our mother the satisfaction. Joe and Anna came home with supermarket bags and fast food. We all holed up in our childhood home, like kids again, 2 extra members now. We asked Sam if he wanted them to leave, but he said he wanted them there. We'd all taken time off for the wedding anyway, so it became an unexpected family retreat. When Daniela tried to storm the gate, we knew the venue was truly off. Anna called them with Sam's info, told them to take the food, and even sent a tip for their trouble. We even got back all the booze Dad paid for, so we jokingly planned a very drunk end of the year. The drama just kept coming. Some people asked why our dad ever married our mother. He truly loved her, saw her as the nicest person. Turns out, she was a master manipulator. He'd considered staying for us, but she just got worse. She'd pretend to change, lure him back in, then revert. We have no doubt Daniela fell for the same charming facade. She genuinely believed Mom was a nice person with ungrateful children. But that doesn't excuse her betrayal. Sam was utterly heartbroken. He thought he'd spend his life with Daniela, thought he was a good judge of character, thought he'd never have to see our mother again. His boss, who was at the church, was incredibly understanding, shocked by what we'd endured. Dad insisted we could stay home as long as we needed. Sam moved back in. We knew Daniela wouldn't just disappear. She sent videos of Sam's things strewn across the floor to his best friend, Tom, threatening to burn everything if Sam didn't talk to her. Tom raced over. Sam, furious, arranged for Joe, Tom, some cousins, and my boyfriend to go collect his essentials, clothes, electronics, important papers. Sam joked they were the fastest moving crew he knew. The inevitable meeting with Daniela and her parents was, for lack of a better word, ridiculous. She tried to talk to Sam alone, but he refused. She launched into a monologue, never apologizing, claiming we didn't understand the value of a real family, that we were raised to hate mothers. Her intention, she claimed, was for Sam to learn to value mothers because she was scared he'd take her children away, just as he was taught to do. Sam remained silent until she crossed the line, calling our family a cult and telling my dad he was a terrible father. That was it. Nobody insults our dad. Sam unloaded. He called her a hateful liar, said he was disgusted he'd ever touched her hand, and was eternally grateful for my chronic punctuality that saved him. He reminded her that staying with a cheating husband, as her mother does, was nothing to be proud of. He said she'd fake being nice to get him to marry her, listed all the minor things he'd overlooked because he thought he loved her. He swore he'd never forgive her for the hurt she caused us, but clarified he didn't hate her because she wasn't worth the energy. He ended by saying she'd had her chance to clear things up, but since she'd chosen to play the victim, he would be the one to tell the world why he didn't show. It was brutal, but cathartic. Her parents were beet red, her sisters tried to defend her, but we just sat there, silent, denying them the argument they craved. Sam then told her father he could sue if he wanted, but Sam would expose all their family's dirty laundry to the world, and doubted he wanted that. The father, unbelievably, still argued Sam should make amends and marry Daniela because they weren't getting younger and all families fight. My eyes nearly rolled out of my head. The rest of the meeting was purely logistical: gifts, harassment, honeymoon cancellation, locks. Daniela just cried, but Sam was in business mode, cold and uninterested. He only spoke directly to her when she announced she was keeping the engagement ring, which no one had even asked for. They left without further incident. Later, when the delivered wedding alcohol arrived, Mom and her husband snuck through the gate. She screamed that she just wanted to talk to her babies, but Dad told her to leave. She kept yelling that he'd raised us wrong, that we'd embarrassed her, and that we clearly lacked maternal love. She got that last part right, and this was the pathetic result. Joe stepped out and told her to leave, that the police were on their way. She instantly switched tactics, trying to sweet-talk him into dinner, but Joe, for the first time in a decade, looked her dead in the eye and said the only news he ever wanted to hear about her was her funeral, so he could go celebrate. Cue hysterical crying from her, and her husband threatening to hit Joe. Dad and Joe went back inside, leaving them there until they finally left. It's hard for some people to understand our extreme reactions, but what I shared about our mother is truly just the tip of the iceberg. Dad wasn't exactly proud of Joe's funeral comment, but he understood it needed to be said. Joe was speaking for all of us. Maybe that makes us bad people, but we genuinely never want to see that woman again. We're all in family therapy now, alongside our individual sessions. Sam, understandably, doesn't want the house anymore, but Dad insists he take it slow and heal his heart first. We've had horror movie marathons, Disney classics, and even a drama bingo game for all the crazy things that happened. Guess we are dramatic after all. We love each other fiercely, and while we're raised to treat people well, we can be petty when pushed. I actually feel better knowing she humiliated herself. And while I wouldn't wish being left at the altar on anyone, I would do it again, because I love my brother more than I feel bad for her. The saga wasn't over. Daniela tried the classic manipulative move. She posted online claiming she was pregnant and Sam was the father. People were losing their minds, calling Sam whiplashed by all the drama. Sam called her, demanded she delete it. She refused, then met him, thinking he wanted her back. I went with Sam. She was all smiles until she saw me. Then she started crying, holding her stomach. When Sam asked if she was really pregnant, she said yes, claiming she didn't want her child to be from a broken home. Sam, cool as ever, said they were going straight to the doctor to confirm. She cried even harder, screaming he didn't trust her. Long story short? She wasn't pregnant. But then she posted that Sam was forcing her to have an abortion and she was devastated. This was beyond vile. Anna, Joe's wife, called Daniela. I don't know what was said, but I've never seen Anna so angry. Those posts are long gone. Anna, a queen, wrote an email with all the relevant information, including Daniela's fake pregnancy, and sent it to everyone on the wedding guest list. The next morning, we heard Daniela had a full-blown breakdown, leaving voicemails for Sam threatening suicide if she couldn't be with him. This was straight out of our mother's playbook. Sam, knowing better, just called the police. Her family forced her into therapy, and she's currently under observation. It brings us no pleasure that it came to this, but we simply couldn't get involved anymore. We changed our numbers, our social media handles. Our mother, predictably, emailed Anna threatening to sue for defamation over the email blast. We weren't worried. Anna's parents are amazing and fully supported her. Joe was enraged, but Anna convinced him to let it go. Dad is considering a restraining order against Mom, but they're not very effective here. Life, unbelievably, moved forward. We had a huge, fun get-together at home, karaoke, dancing, good food, games, even a bouncy house because why not? Dad gave away a lot of the leftover wedding alcohol to his employees. We spent the holidays together, traveling. Sam still didn't want the house, so he decided to rent it out. And me? I made a joke about just eloping to avoid drama, and Joe, my incredible brother, immediately told me in no uncertain terms that if I ever got married, I'd get the biggest party ever. Life continued to surprise us. Sam, after all that heartbreak, started running marathons. He was doing renovations, painting hilariously awful murals with Dad. They had a blast. Daniela's letters were sent back unopened. And I got engaged. My now husband, Matt, had apparently been planning it for months. He even panicked when I joked about eloping, then spoke to Sam, Joe, and Dad. Dad, being Dad, made him sweat a little, saying his hand wasn't his to give, but it was all in good fun. It happened earlier that month, and I was so excited, but not as much as my dad. He insisted he'd walk me down the aisle, even if it was a civil ceremony. But the biggest, most joyous news came from Joe and Anna. They'd been on the adoption list for a while, and a couple of weeks ago, they finally brought home their baby girl. She is the most beautiful, sweet, best baby ever. The adoption was final, as it usually is for newborns in our country. We all knew they wanted to adopt, but when they told us she was officially theirs, there were so many happy tears. Dad went into full grandpa mode. As bad as some things got that year, this was the absolute best thing to happen to our family. And of course, our mother found out about the baby and demanded an introduction. She was promptly served our country's version of a protection order. She will never lay eyes on that child if we can help it. We were all healing. Sam moved in with his amazing girlfriend, a wonderful woman who understands everything we've been through and fits seamlessly into our crazy family. Dad practically lives with Rita now, very happy, semi-retired. He's full-on grandpa to Joe and Anna's baby, and even to our 2 new cats. He sends his friends progress updates, and they sometimes can't tell if he's talking about the baby or the cats, he's so excited. He buys them all too many toys, but apparently, that's just what grandpas do. Matt and I finally got married in December. My dad walked me down the aisle, even though we did non-traditional things for our country. Joe was Matt's best man, and Sam, with a grin, insisted on being my best maid, calling himself Julio throughout the planning. Our mother tried to manipulate Anna's mom for info, but no one gave her anything. Some of Mom's relatives huffed about Rita being there instead of my own mother, but honestly, condoning Mom's actions is disgusting. We had an absolute blast. Nobody ran away, nobody cried sad tears, nobody tried to make a scene. It was perfect. We're remodeling parts of the house to make it more ours, but everything is going wonderfully for our little cult. Sam's girlfriend has even approached us with the idea of proposing to Sam when the time is right. So, who knows? Maybe this time, he'll actually make it to the altar. Looking back, it's wild to think how much pain and chaos one person brought into our lives. But that pain forged something unbreakable between us. We've navigated betrayal, manipulation, and heartbreak, and come out stronger, happier, and more united than ever. We found our joy, our own kind of family, and we protect it fiercely. Tell me, have you ever had to choose your peace over a toxic family member, no matter the cost? What would you have done in our place? I truly want to know your thoughts in the comments below.